Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.
Hey everybody, it's Zach, aka Zach's Reviews. We are back again with another video, and today's video is the second episode of WandaVision, or actually the third episode of WandaVision, because we got the first and second last week. I keep forgetting that we got the two in the beginning, and now we're only doing one episode each Friday. So, for this third episode, we are now in the Brady Bunch era, so we're no longer in the I Love Lucy, Dick Van Dyke, and the Bewitched era. We're now where the Brady Bunch is, and we get their cool opening because it switches each time. And Wanda, as we know from the last episode, is that she's pregnant now, and then in this episode we're learning a lot more about the outside of the dome. We're learning a lot more, and we're learning a lot more about how inside the dome. We're learning that it seems like the people are finding out more and more that they're not supposed to be there, because there was a couple of weird scenes in this episode where the neighbor that Vision met in his in the patrol meeting is literally cutting through the wall when he was like cutting the hedges, and he was just cutting through the wall, and I was like, what's going on there? What's and he just said something weird to Vision, like, oh, nothing is mine or something, and then he's just cutting through the walls, like, okay. And just the doctor is checking out Wanda to see when she's going to be having the baby, and Vision, of course, he's going through all the possibilities in his head of, okay, like, she had the baby then, and it goes through this stage, this stage, this stage, and he's like, oh, you could have the baby by like this Friday. And she's like, what? And essentially what happens is they're building their I guess their infirmary for the baby. They're building the room, and they're decorating the walls. She's putting up a butterfly thing above the I guess, what do you call it, the crib. And so they're just getting ready for the baby, and of course, Wanda's worried because, oh my god, it could be this Friday. This is insane. But as first, she was like, okay, things will be fine. And Vision was the one that was like, okay, it goes through this, that, and then she's panicking, and he said, okay, to breathe, you go, I guess, like, he was reading books on like what you need to do or what certain signs mean. If like the baby's like kicking, this is what it means, or if it's if you feel pain, this is what it means. He's just reading books and trying to learn as much knowledge, of course, because he wants to help Wanda out. So essentially, she's going through I guess like it feels like it's like I forget the word for it. It's like an early stage of labor.
Braxton Hicks.
Yeah, Braxton Hicks, I guess. It's like a fake you're going through labor, but you're not. So, but at that moment, just things are like, when she's having these contractions, things start like messing up around the house. Like the electricity goes out in the town. Her sweeper's making a whole bunch of noise. The washer is overflowing with soap and bubbles. And she can't control her powers when this is all going on, when she's having these contractions. So there was a moment where Monica Rambeau comes in, and she's talking to her about, oh, do you guys have any bowls, because, or like or buckets, because my house is overflowing because the sprinklers went off because Wanda's water broke, and Vision runs to go get the doctor because the doctor's about to leave town to go on vacation with his wife. So Vision's doing that while Monica comes over, asks for a bucket, but things are just going south or whatever when she goes to go get the bucket for Monica. Next thing you know, her jacket keeps changing because she puts a jacket on before she lets Monica in, because she doesn't want Monica to know that she's pregnant, because the other day she saw Monica and she wasn't pregnant. So she's trying to cover that up a little bit and make sure nobody finds out that she's pregnant, while Vision runs to go get the doctor. So every time when she's going to get the bucket, her jacket keeps changing, and there's this one furry jacket that Wanda's like, ooh, this is a nice jacket. So then she comes in or whatever to go see Monica, gives her Monica comes in there, and really quick she has to put a bowl over her stomach to hide the fact that, she's not pregnant. So she has like a bowl of fruit over her belly, And when Monica comes in, she's like, ooh. And then she's like, oh, fruit. And then thank you. And then Wanda was like, oh, thank God she didn't know this. They go in the other room. And then next thing you know, there is, what do you call it? What do you call it, Beth? Like a pelican? Was it
a stork?
A stork. There was a stork that, that she painted on the wall in the infirmary that came to life. And she's like, oh, sit down, Monica. Tell me about your new job. And she was explaining, it was a new job for, like, I guess a cereal ad or an ad campaign. And she gave a pitch for an ad, and then the boss told her, oh, go clear out your desk. And then Wanda's like, oh, no, you got fired? And she's like, no, I got a promotion. And she's just trying to distract her and get rid of the stork, but the stork's not disappearing. And then there was a moment where Monica was about to get up, and she threw an orange at the stork. The stork ran away in the infirmary. And then there was a moment, and then she got up about to leave, but she said, oh, before I leave, do you have any supplies I can do, like, to make, I guess, something? So she goes in there, and she's like, no, and the stork's, like, pretending, Edward, you gotta move, man. This is my sister's cat, Edward. So she's like, Wanda was like, no, to Monica when she went to the infirmary, but the stork's, like, up against the wall pretending it's, like, a painting, but it's, like, not a painting. Or, like, pretending it's, like, a statue, and I thought that was funny. And she's like, no, I think, would she know this? Like, oh, you got a crib. And she's like, and then right away, that's when she started to find out sort of that, oh crap, Wanda's pregnant because there was a crib in there, and Wanda has another contraction, but it's the real deal. She's having the baby, and that's when Monica finds out that she's pregnant. She's like, oh my God, it's too early. Oh my God, this hurts. The baby's coming. She's like, you're pregnant? And then she helps Wanda have the baby, saying, you can do this, breathe, remember to breathe, and just paintings are going, like, around in circles. The washer's overflowing, and just a whole bunch of things are going wrong. And Edward, you can't come over here unless you're going behind the camera. No. Yeah, I want to grab him, Beth, because Mr. Man wants to, I think, come in front of the camera again. So Monica's helping her get deliver the baby, and then then when the baby gets delivered, and it's a boy, and they were talking about, her and Vision were talking about baby names, and I think Wanda wanted the baby to be Tommy, and then I think Vision wanted the baby to be named Billy. So they were on that subject of what the name should be, but when Vision comes back with the doctor, he says, Monica says to the doctor, want to come in the kitchen real quick. And then the doctor's like, we were going so fast because literally Vision ran and then ran the doctor back. So they're in the other room, Monica and the doctor, and Wanda's like, oh, do you want to meet your baby boy? Do you want to meet your baby boy as yourself? And that's when Vision becomes his robot form and says to, and Wanda says to Vision, oh, meet our baby boy, Tom, or is it Tommy? Yeah, Tommy? Yeah, Tommy. Because that's, again, the name Vision wanted. So then essentially she's holding the baby. Vision's holding the baby, and then Wanda screams again, and then Vision's like, what's wrong? And she's like, I'm having, like, oh, something's wrong. And then that's when Vision says, oh, you're having another kid. Keep going. And then she gives the kids puts the kids down in the crib. I guess the doctor leaves because Vision says to the doctor, are you going to go back home and, get ready to go on vacation? And he's like, oh, I can't. And then the guy said something creepy. The doctor's like, oh, I can't escape the town or whatever. It's hard to escape the town. And I was just, okay. I think, again, because they say those weird things like they're knowing things. They know what's wrong. So the doctor leaves, but Vision walks him out, and Vision and then Wanda's there with the babies in the cribs, and I think it's Tommy and Billy, right? That's the name of the babies, as like the name of their kids in the comic book, which I thought was cool. So what I'm expecting is like maybe when this is all over, will the kids be older by the time, like, at some point in the MCU, and they get their superhero Wicked and Speed counterpart names? Like will they be older when we see them in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Like, what's gonna happen? So I'm wondering what's gonna happen with that. But as when Monica's in there with Wanda and the babies, Vision's outside taking out the doctor, and when he takes out the doctor to say, "Oh, see ya," letting the doctor go back home, we run back into Vision's neighbors, which is the neighbor. Oh, come on, no. The kittens just love going in front of me, literally, while I'm trying to do this. So what's their neighbors again, Beth? The names of the neighbors. I can't remember. But we run back into the neighbors, and they're telling secrets to each other. And then Vision's like, "Hey, what are you guys talking about?" And he pretty much said, "Oh, nothing." It's like they want to say what they want to like. Well, it looks like the one neighbor, the husband, wants to say something to Vision.
Agnes and Herb.
Yeah, Agnes and Herb. So he sees Agnes and Herb talking, and he's like, "Oh, what are you guys talking about?" And then Agnes is like, "Oh, nothing," and Herb's like, "Oh, we want to tell you there's something weird about Monica." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And then they're like, "Oh, isn't it weird that she has no husband? She has no home. That's a little weird." And the Vision's like, "It's not the weird. Okay, she has no husband and she moves around. What's the problem?" And they're like, "That's just weird. She has no home." And then they're like, and then there was a moment outside where Vision's like, "Okay, this is very weird." And then while going inside, there's a moment where Wanda's talking about Pietro and how she had a brother, and right away Monica said he was killed by Ultron, wasn't he? And then Wanda's like, "How do you know that?" And then she pretends like she doesn't know. But I think she's not pretending. I think honestly maybe she might not know. At that moment, like, the place does something to you. You remember some things, and sometimes you don't remember things. And notice how her accent came back when she was talking about Pietro. Remember, she is in the time period of, in the old shows, you would be talking, in English. You would be you wouldn't be talking in an accent. So, I mean, Elizabeth Olsen had an interview, and she was talking about that, saying because they were saying, "Oh, what happened to your accent?" She's like, "I'm in in old style TV shows. She wouldn't have the accent; it would be English, But as she was talking about Pietro, that was breaking through because she was breaking through the barrier, and she was actually talking the way she usually talks. So, but when she says that, "Monica, how'd you know that?" She's like, "Oh, I don't know how I know that, but haven't I told you you're awesome?" Trying to cover it up, and she's like, "Literally, how did you know that? And who are you?" And she's like, "Oh, Wanda, it's okay," or whatever. And she's like, "No, seriously, who are you? And what is that necklace?" And it was the sword necklace. And she knew right away something was not right with this girl. Same as how Alice and Herb were saying stuff about Monica. So essentially, right where that's going on outside, where Vision's talking to Alice and Herb, Wanda literally ends up sending just sending her through the portal back to the normal reality. But right when Vision comes in, he's like, "Okay, where's Monica? Wasn't she in here?" And she's like, "Oh, I sent her, or she had to go or whatever." And she just has a weird, just a crazy smile on her face, and just I don't know if she is doing this or the dome is doing this to her, where she is doing this to these people. I just want to know more about that and what's going on. I hope Wanda's not the cause of this, she's trapping these people. I'm hoping maybe someone is doing this to her, or maybe people outside of the dome really know she's a good person, and that's why they're thinking someone's doing this to her. But maybe she's doing this to her. Maybe she's doing it to them because of the guilt she has about losing Pietro, losing Vision. She feels like she never can catch a break, and all that grief is coming down on her. That maybe she's just creating this, and she's not meaning to hurt anybody, but it's happening. So I'm really wanting to know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think is happening? Do you think she's doing this? Or do you think someone's doing this to her? Do you think our kids are going to grow up in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Or maybe they'll grow up as teenagers right as we end this series, and we see them in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I mean, the kid came out of her, like, she gave birth really quickly, so who's to say that the kids won't grow as quickly? So I can't wait to see where this is going to go. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments about this episode and everything else. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to my channel, put on those notifications, leave a comment down below, like this video. That helps me know that you guys like my content, and I love doing this for you guys. I would love if you guys join the family. I post literally every day. I post every Friday after every episode. I post every Monday, every new episode of All American on Mondays. I post every new episode of Riverdale on Wednesdays. And I post every Thursday of Legacies on Thursday. I'm putting out content as fast as possible for you guys, because I love what I'm doing, and I love giving you guys content so you guys have something to watch. So I'm going to end this here, so I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.